Whether you've been naughty or nice this year, you can pick up your holiday figures at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description.
Dragon Ball, horror, kaiju, and more. Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hey there, collectors, it's Steven here, and appropriately timed Merry Christmas to you. Today we're going to be taking a look at a figure that completely blew up the collector scene last year by storm, which was exclusive to the Four Horsemen Studios website. And they did a repaint just in time for the holiday season this year. Today we're going to be taking a look at the red retail release of the Figura Obscura Krampus. Last year I did a full-on deluxe review, but this year we'll keep it simple with a normal review. Krampus last year basically, took the collecting world by storm, and everyone just saw this surprise drop and they picked it up, or they bought it on the aftermarket. But demand was there, and they did a red repaint with a new twist on it in some areas. So, is this retail release going to be worth the purchase, or should you just hunt down the black release from last year? Or skip it entirely? Let's take a look to see whether or not it's going to be worth adding into your collection. Obviously, the sculpt remains unchanged with a repaint. However, mine has a minor quality control issue with one of the boots, one of the shin parts with a warped horn spike on the right hand side. I suppose maybe water, hot water, heat, some kind will be able to warp that back into position, but I'm a bit too lazy to do that. For this Krampus, there will be some differences compared to the Four Horsemen exclusive release, but we'll take a look at that in the comparison section a little bit later in this review. In terms of quality control, everything basically otherwise came out just fine. Mine has a little bit of a blip, one might say, a paint splotch on the right pectoral, but otherwise everything came out just fine. We have nicely applied black paint for the nails. The dry brushing on the horns looks fine. Teeth, could be a little bit better, but it's not really that big of an issue. Everything is great. The masking on the green for the loincloth, I guess you might call it, is really, really cool. We have actually a little bit more of a silver dry brushing for the metallic parts of Krampus on his armor. The tail has some unique paint applications. Basically, the contrast on the figure looks really good. I mean, like turning up the contrast, if you will, in a picture. Krampus is very nice, and if you're thinking of picking it up, then hey, congratulations, he does look good. For this Krampus, it's going to be the second verse, same as the first for pretty much everything, including the articulation. So what do we have? Well, the head plugs into the neck on a ball joint so we can rock everything around. I'm going to move him by his tongue. Up about that far, down about that far, rock and twist and turn from side to side. I will say that the cut for the ball joint is rather deep, so we can actually get it close to popping off, but not quite, as you can see there. And we can get some pretty deep turning from side to side, which is pretty good. So the range of movement is impressive. And it does pop off with ease for head swapping opportunities. What head swapping? Stay around for the accessories. The tuft of fur does also pop off. For the shoulders, we do have swivel hinge combos, so this way we can spin the arms around and we can get him to effectively T-pose, which is good. No dedicated bicep swivel up here, but we do have single hinge elbows. We can get roughly 90 degrees, but we do have swivels there as well. Because of the cut here at the back, it does get a little unnatural the further, or rather farther, we get for that swivel, but nevertheless, it kind of works just fine. We do have swivels at the gauntlet, which is pretty cool, and the wrists, both of the hands that we get, they do swivel around, and we do have hinges in and out. Now, something to be careful of, we do have the gauntlet, which has a little tip there. Don't scratch up the figure. We do have a waist ball joint, which allows Krampus to turn around from side to side and all that fun stuff. No true ab crunch, but hey, it works out just fine. For the hips, we do have swivel hinge combos. As you can see here, Krampus can kick out to the side, though do note on mine is a little loosey-goosey in some spots. So he can use those hinges to kick out. He will go. There we go. Like so. So that is rather tight. However, when it comes to the movement forward and back, which tail, let's go ahead and get you out of the way, it is rather loose, comparatively speaking, so something to keep in mind there. Knees, single hinge, but with a rather deep cut, so that's good, and then swivel movement. For the ankles, good movement on hinges, also with a swivel to allow for ankle rocker movement. The tail, once again, is going to be on a ball joint, but having just had the black Krampus, the one that was exclusive to the Four Horsemen's website. The tail actually plugs in significantly easier. Didn't need to use heat, and I comfortably didn't need to use heat, but I would still advise that you do. If you're not too skilled with that sort of stuff, and the ball joint moves around just fine. I don't feel like I'm stressing anything at all. Articulation is going to be just the same as the original Krampus. Joints, little loose at the hips, but I mean, he moves around just fine with no real issues. Thumbs up. Everyone's favorite part, the accessories, and what do we get? Essentially everything that came with the previous Krampus, but a little bit different. We are going to get a set of weapon-holding hands or slightly open fists. The jingle bells, we're going to get the basket on the back with the twine, so this way he can wear it. The bundle, the set of sticks, handcuffs, the chains, and 2 skulls with fists. Cool. So for the bells, I don't recall, and I'm not going to go ahead and watch my review for it, if I had to do another knot to shorten up the string, but this one is excessively long. Yeah, it goes all the way down to his crotch just by normal. And since that's what it is out of the box, that's pretty much how I left it for this review. Jingles just fine. Shelly loves it as normal. Shelly's my cat, if for some reason you don't know who she is. Cool, but I mean, does he wear the jingle bells all the way down that low? I don't know. Bundle of sticks, so this way he can beat people with it. This one is going to be white compared to the previous black-ish release. For this one also, the sticks seem to be a little bit tighter clumped up together. If you like it, great. If you don't, that's going to be fine too. Handcuffs, they look just fine. The chains, fine, cool. Not a big deal. They work just fine. Make sure you pop the hands off before you put them on. The way it works, pop the hands off, put the cuffs on the gauntlets, first hold them in place, then pop the hands back on. The skulls, these are going to be out of the box included in the little basket that is going to be on Krampus's back. We do have one with a closed mouth, the other which has a hinged jaw open here, so this way you can see that, in 2 alternate fists or weapon holding hands. Of note, you may see some red specks on my review table here. As I've moved Krampus around, red flakes have fallen off. Now for the basket on the back, which will include those skeleton parts and the little twine, so this way you can have Krampus wear it. Let's go ahead and show the unfortunately frustrating section here on how you get Krampus to wear it. So the way that it works is you just put the twine through the little circle loop there on the basket, and then in any way you can sort of fashion it, you just wrap it around his shoulders and then tie it off on the back. Something to keep note of, there is a somewhat clear rubber band thing that is included to make sure that the lid stays on. Of course, here I'm effectively walking and chewing gum at the same time while demonstrating and getting something on camera, which can be a bit difficult considering I'm keeping it an arm's length away and making sure it's in frame, so that does increase the difficulty of making sure that it happens. This is an elaborate explanation to make sure that while I'm recording audio separately from the video, I have enough runtime. But, you know, once you get that worked out, there aren't instructions for specifically what knot you should use, but it should overall work. Now, with that being said, here are going to be some action shots of Krampus and some of the accessories, and something that I did not touch on is that the skeleton parts are going to work with Krampus. Now, I did find that the smaller skeleton head is going to work, or the skull, on Krampus. However, the bigger one with the hinged jaw is going to be a nicer, untight fit, which is something that we always like. The hands work as well. Now, going to go ahead and sneak on over to a 360 view, and I'm going to talk about an accessory right after this part that I did not talk about before. So there is going to be one notable accessory that is going to be missing, and that is going to be the apparently bandolier. It's going to be the sort of belt that was included in the basket from the original Black Krampus, which is notably missing here. I don't know if perhaps that is an oversight for my particular release, but nevertheless, it was not included. But what was included is going to be the magnetic backdrop that is going to be included on the box. It's going to be the exact same one as the original Black Krampus, however, it is more dark in terms of tone. I'm not able to scan this, unfortunately, as I believe I did last year for the original Krampus, but nevertheless, here are going to be some nice pictures of that one. And here's going to be a size comparison with the 2022 holiday/Christmas Figura Obscura figures from the Four Horsemen. Just going to go ahead and throw Father Christmas and the Red Krampus up on the table so you get an idea how they're both going to be, because I would assume, you know, maybe folks would go ahead and get both. And now here's going to be a side-by-side comparison with the Black Krampus, which was, again, exclusive to the Four Horsemen Studios store. Store Horsemen, in case you needed that. Now, obviously, red, black, completely different, but compared to, let's say, the armored parts, we are going to have a bit more of a silver paint application to the Black Krampus's armored parts. The jingle bells on the Black Krampus are a bit more gold, and I did not happen to think of it, but the red Krampus has a bit more of an bumped up contrast to the basket that he's going to be wearing on his back. It's not really something super duper notable, but just something to really keep in mind. Obviously a night and day difference since they're two separate figures. There's going to be a paint difference. I must say I do like the green loincloth a bit more. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. It's going to be the same thing, but red and green for the loincloth and a few other color differences compared to the one that we received last year. Also of note, there was a greeting card that was included with the Black Krampus, which is missing from this one. However, the Black Krampus was directly from Four Horsemen, so it's a bit understandable that it was omitted here, so it's not really that big of an issue. If you did miss out, this is a fantastic way to get the figure, bottom line, and that figure is great. I really do like it. I was considering passing on this one, however, it's great in its own right, and hey, I have two Krampus now. Krampus Krampus whatever the case may be. It's fun to have sort of like an army of them. You know, one, the other, yin, yang, they can gang up. Maybe they can even gang up on Father Christmas himself. Check out that review. Buy it. It's pretty fun.
Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.